The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of the staff and management of Salem Media of Hawaii.
Welcome to Generations Radio, where the focus is on our seniors and their families. We are here each Saturday afternoon from 5 until 6 p.m., bringing you resourceful information with our radio team of professionals in the field of aging. Stay with us for the next 1 hour as we explore different ways to make life more exciting and meaningful for our extraordinary seniors. Right here on AM 690 The Answer. And now, here is our host and the publisher of Generations Magazine, Percy Ihara.
Welcome to Generations Radio. I am Percy Ihara, the publisher editor of Generations Magazine. And as you know, our new issue featuring the Red Cross, Hawaii Red Cross, and Coralie Matayoshi is on the newsstands now, or at your doctor offices, or the state library, or the YMCA. Or you can go to our website, generations808.com, to check out all the stories. There's a lot of great stories, and also there's a list of places you can volunteer. So if you're retired, please spend some time looking at that page. I believe it's on page 20. The list of all the different places that we have available and great places for you to volunteer at, like Project Donna, which is a faith-based organization that helps to provide services for the frail seniors. Pololo Chinese Home, Manoa Colleges, St. Francis Healthcare, the Senior Companion Program, which is really good. Kuakini, the Hawaii SHIP program, which is the state health insurance program, basically about Medicare. Catholic Charities, Arthritis Foundation, and, of course, the Alzheimer's Association. So check it out. It's a great issue, and it's actually a bigger issue now. We're growing. One of the few print magazines that's growing. But today we want to talk about things seniors should know about elder abuse, and the second half is going to be about probably one of the most feared financial products, my industry, the reverse mortgage industry, and I'm here with the Deputy Prosecuting Attorney, Mr. Scott Spallina. Welcome back to the show, Scott.
Hey, good afternoon, Percy. Appreciate you having me back again.
Yeah, thanks for stepping in, And, the week prior we talked about the elder abuse and the statement of silence is not golden.
That's right. I mean, we're trying to break the silence, and one reason we're trying to break it is because it's like a hidden crime, and it has to be broken, has to be coming out of the shadows, so to speak. And that's one reason that our office and Keith Kaneshiro has been very supportive of this, is to do a lot of community education. And it's been educating to me as well. I think I said last week that my background was in domestic violence work. And so when I was tasked to create the elder abuse unit back in 2008, I had to educate myself in exactly what was elder abuse. And I learned that it wasn't just physical, but a lot of it was financial. And being as that at the time I could barely balance my checkbook, I had to educate myself on how to prevent people from becoming financially vulnerable. And one reason and one thing I found with the assistance of you and experts like you is planning. It all comes down to a lot of financial planning. And that's one thing I want to kind of touch upon today is planning for the future, like doing the estate planning, doing wills and trusts. And
trying to be more proactive than reactive.
And that's exactly it. That's the word I was looking for, is proactive, because unfortunately abuse happens when you're reactive. Abuse happens when you're in the throes of the emotional stress of having a devastating illness strike your family, something or an accident strike your family. Then you're forced to react, and unfortunately you make poor decisions when you're under a tremendous stress.
It's emotional time.
Exactly.
Really, they don't want to know what to do. And a lot of times they'll take one of your children, step up, say, oh, this is what you should do, Dad. And maybe he's got some self-interest involved.
Yeah, or he could have self-interest involved, or he's just ignorant because some of these industries that you're involved with are very regulated or kind of complicated to some extent, that chances are when you meet with a client, you just don't meet with that person one time and they sign the paperwork that day. Chances are there's some consultation involved. Chances are there's like saying, okay, I need to educate you first so that you can choose rationally and calmly what option's best for you. I'm sure you don't meet someone that walks into your office and say, oh, you should do this. Here, sign it right away.
Yeah, that's why we counsel families about the reverse mortgage. In fact, it's funny you just mentioned that, because when I got in this business over 11 years ago, after about 6 months, I didn't know who my clients were. In other words, I was 44 at the time. I knew nothing about Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, caregiving, Alzheimer's. Well, I was only 44. I had no reason to.
Right.
However, all my clients were over 62. All my clients were actually, most of them were over 72. And I took a commitment to myself to learn about this industry, and that's how I got involved with the magazine as well. But it's interesting statistics. Since 1950 to 2000, 50 years, the population has grown 87%. The age bracket above 65 plus, grew 188%. The scary figure here is over the age of 85, the population has grown 635%. And lastly, by 2030, when I reach 70, the population over 65 is going to triple to 70 million people over the age of 70 years old.
You see, and
65 years old.
And that's crazy scary in a sense that just from 2008 to now, we have seen an increase of elder abuse cases over 300%. And people say, like, why so much? And I think because the population is getting older, there's a bigger bubble going on, and you have these baby boomers now becoming our kapuna, and they're going to be having the same problems as the existing kapuna, which include elder abuse.
Hopefully not. That's why we have you here, Scott. That's why we want to. Silence has got to stop. We got to stop this. We got to get people out there. And that's why that's one thing I really do appreciate you about, Scott. You're the rock star in Hawaii to get all the word out. Of course, Lieutenant John McCarthy at HPD.
That's right.
I can't forget him. But
he's a true rock star. I'm just a backup singer to him.
But yeah, we got to get the word out. We got to get families to understand. So give us, let's say we got a few minutes left. Give me 3 tips that families should really start thinking about, or start planning about, start talking about to avoid some kind of abuse.
Well, it's like you said before, communication is the key. Communication is the key. Let family members know your plans. And it might be an uncomfortable situation where you have to say, okay, we're going to split the house in half. We're going to do it. And unfortunately, a lot of parents I'm seeing do not want to have that uncomfortable conversation. So they might tell one sibling or lead one child to believe something and then lead the other child to believe something else. And you do not want to have your children, when you pass on, giving me a call saying, hey, my sister, she did X, Y, and Z. And then the sister saying, no, my brother did X, Y, and Z and stuff. Get a will out there. Get a trust created, because a little, like what they say, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. You can't avoid certain things. And unfortunately, you can't avoid dying. I mean, I'm going to be blunt right there.
Dying, death and taxes.
Yeah, exactly. You can't avoid any of those. But because it's so uncomfortable to think about, and we think, oh, I'm in good health today. I'm going to live to be 20 more years or 10 more years or whatever like that. I don't need to worry about that now. And then you cross the street and you get hit by a car. I mean, you were bringing that up in the newspaper recently. We get people in this town get hit by cars almost every day. And I'm sure when they woke up that day, they didn't plan on getting hit by a car. And I'm sure if they thought they were going to get hit by a car tomorrow, they would be talking to a financial advisor today about, hey, I'm going to get hit by a car tomorrow. I want to build that trust. I want to get that will going there. So please, if you're thinking about, or if you have any assets, any material, if you have $2 in the bank, talk to somebody about how you're going to distribute those $2. $1 to junior boy, another $1 to honey girl. But you need to document it. You need to tell people that. There's no excuse for not communicating this. And I realize it's very uncomfortable, but I've been to homes where they've actually had a party, a will signing party, where they'll invite the family, and they'll invite the friends, they'll invite the people that they'll need witnesses to sign these wills like that. They'll have a nice dinner, and it's just out in the open. And they give everybody a copy of the will, and it may seem uncomfortable, but it takes away a lot of the anxiety. And that's the important thing there.
Yeah, so many families. And every senior I talk to, whether they do the reverse mortgage or not, I always ask them, do your children have copies of the trust, the power of attorney, the will, the medical directive? And hopefully in the next month we're going to have a conversation about end of life options, because in our April-May issue with the Red Cross on the cover, Korole Matayoshi, we actually have an article, and maybe you want to get a chance to read the article. I'm going to find it here. It is on page in the April-May issue. We did a story on Dr. Volandes, who graduated from from Harvard and is a doctor in Boston. And it's titled, "I Want to Die Comfortably at Home." Because unfortunately, Hawaii is on the lower 20% of the states in the United States, in the Union, that doesn't utilize hospice. Isn't that sad?
Really?
We don't use hospice. I think a lot of it's, whether it's cultural, religious, whatever, people think they're going to live longer than they actually do. And hospice is paid 100% by Medicare. But here's a scarier figure. We're number 2 in the country, which you don't want to be, of people dying in the ER. You should be dying at home if you're a senior, not in the ER. And the number 1 state is New York, obviously. It's a money generator for the hospital. But let me ask you, would you want to die in tubes up your mouth, in your face, and IVs in there, and you're on a deathbed in the hospital? It's cold. It smells different. You got people around your bed. Or would you rather be in the comfort of your home?
Well, I mean, the title of the article that you just read, I think, is everyone's dream.
Well, dream, it can be a goal, and it can be done. The book is called, we feature his book called The Conversation.
Okay.
A revolutionary plan for end-of-life care. And it means staying at home. So we have, you can go to theconversationbook.org. It's written by Dr. Volandes. And they actually came to Hawaii a couple of years ago to work with HMSA. Dr. Volandes and Dr. Ray Seitz, who has made videos for caregivers and family members to explaining the conversation about end-of-life options. And now all the hospitals in the state of Hawaii have just been trained on it just in the last month about how to utilize these videos. The cool thing about it, Scott, is I believe there is over 10 languages.
Really?
It's been translated in 10 different languages to explain it to different ethnic groups, the different options. So it's really cool. I have seen them, and they show the patient, it's an actor, of course, in the hospital bed with tubes, everything around, all the family around him, and saying, "Is this what you really want, or do you want to be in your home?" And it's called hospice, but it's a great book. Check out the videos, and you can go to theconversationbook.org, or just Google Dr. Volandes, Volandes.
And again, that's all in this issue of Generations Magazine.
It's on page 41 in the April-May issue with Korole Matayoshi from the Red Cross. So anyway, Scott, we want to get you out there more. We want to get the public to know more about all these scams. And it's really important that we get the families to be proactive about this and start communicating with your brothers and sisters so there's no fights down the road.
Exactly. Exactly.
But it's something that, we want to protect people. Me being in the reverse mortgage business, having, offering a product a lot of people are scared of or feared for, worried about they're going to get ripped off or whatever, lose their home. Well, that could happen without a reverse mortgage. I tell families. But all I'm trying to do is making sure they understand what it is, what it's not, and give them
there
an
does
option.
seem to be a lot of misinformation, which I think we need to cover later on this hour.
Yeah, there's a lot of misconceptions out there. Come to my workshop. We do them once a month. So anyway, you can reach us at the magazine, 234-3117. But go to our website, generations808.com. And as you guys know, all these radio programs are posted on our website and will be up in about 3 weeks after its air dates. So anyway, generations808.com. Anyway, this is Percy Howard. We're going to take a short break and back with the reverse mortgage information. Aloha.
We will be right back with Percy Ihara from Generations Radio. If you have any questions or want to be part of our discussion, give us a call at 296-5467. That's 296-5467. This is Generations Radio on AM 690 The Answer.
Over 10 years ago, the Plaza opened their first assisted living facility to serve the growing need of Hawaii's senior community. Since then, they've made it possible for thousands of families to stay connected with their loved ones in a true home-away-from-home setting. Now, a decade later, there are more reasons than ever why Hawaii seniors and their loved ones choose the Plaza Assisted Living. Maybe it's the flexibility of monthly rental apartment living, or the comfort of knowing that the Plaza offers independent and assisted living, memory care, even short-term respite care. Options to serve each resident's individual needs. What's reason number one? The Plaza Assisted Living feels like home. And they're going to be opening the newest plaza in Pearl City very soon. You could make your deposit today. Come, see for yourself. Call and schedule a free tour at 377-5292. That's 377-5292. Or visit us online at theplazaassistedliving.com. Theplazaassistedliving.com.
Simplify your life by opening a My Social Security account. What's My Social Security? It's a secure online account that allows you immediate access to your personal Social Security information. During your working years, you can use My Social Security to view your Social Security statement, to check your earnings record and see estimates of the future retirement, disability, and survivor benefits you and your family may receive. If you receive benefits, you can get a benefit verification, check your benefit and payment information, change your address and phone number, and even change your direct deposit information. Open a My Social Security account today and simplify your life. Just visit www.socialsecurity.gov/myaccount. While you're online, check out all the other things you can do at www.socialsecurity.gov.
Today, more than ever, we local people are living longer than any other state in the Union, with more seniors, baby boomers, and caregivers. Generations Radio promotes the importance to be proactive as we all age. The radio team will focus on issues facing our seniors and their families, finding resources to navigate healthy aging along with financial, legal, and caregiving information. So join Percy E. Howard from 5 until 6 each Saturday, right here on AM 690, The Answer. Focusing on the issues facing our seniors and their families today. Here's our Generations Radio host, Percy Ihara.
Welcome back to the show. So the first half today, we had Cindy Spallina from the Mobile Notary Service. It's a great little service there. So check her out if you need service at the care home, nursing facility, or at your own home. If you need a notary service, she will come to your home. Locations, call her up, find out the different locations, because I know she doesn't want to go to North Shore every day. So give her a call. Anyway, the second half of the show, I wanted to talk about changes in the reverse mortgage business that's coming up at the end of April. But first of all, I did want to mention Generations Radio and Magazine does have a social media presence. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. So I didn't realize you got to like our page. So please go back in there and like our page, the Generations Magazine. You can find it at Generations Magazine on Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. As you know, the April-May issue is out and about. It's featuring Coralie Matayoshi on the cover of our April-May issue on the Red Cross. And there's a lot of great articles besides our resource guide. The resource, of course, is listings of different volunteer opportunities that you have out there. And one of the bigger ones is Project Donna, which is a faith-based organization statewide that helps seniors and frail services. Ploto Chinese Home, Seagull Schools, the Senior Companion Program, Lanakila Meals on Wheels, Kuakini, Hawaii Theater for Youth, which if you like entertainment in media, for events, it's a great thing to do. You can get see some shows while just ushering. The State Health Insurance Program, really that need volunteers to speak about Medicare, Catholic Charities, and my own Arthritis Foundation. I'm on the board of Arthritis Foundation, so we need volunteers for all of these. But check it out in our April-May issue on the racks. So most of the time, Safeway and Longs. All the libraries statewide, the YMCAs, Big City Diner, thanks to them, and Vacations Hawaii. But on page 3 is all the listings of all their distribution locations, or go to our website, generations808.com, to check us out. But anyway, I did want to mention, as people know, I started in the reverse mortgage business almost over 11 years ago after being in the mortgage business, regular mortgage business for 15 years. So I wanted to talk about the changes and some of the things going on with the reverse mortgage industry, but I wanted to have it balanced. So I invited back our prosecuting attorney, Scott Spallina, to kind of be the balance about the reverse mortgage. Because I'm sure, Scott, you've seen some situations where family members may take advantage of the reverse mortgage or may have been scammed by somebody in the reverse mortgage business, right?
Well, okay. First of all, thanks for having me back. I appreciate always appearing on your show. Second of all, I'm a deputy prosecuting attorney. Yeah, Keith Conashiro, he's the prosecuting attorney.
I don't want to get Keith mad.
Yeah, don't get Keith mad. I love my job, so don't get Keith mad here. Third, isn't reverse mortgage a big scam? Because I hear that all the time. Say, ooh, reverse mortgage. And to be honest with you, when I first started doing the elder abuse stuff back in 2008, there was a lot of suspicion going on about reverse mortgage. And I don't hear it too much now. But tell me, why is it all misconception? You tell me, explain to me, what exactly is reverse mortgage, and is it regulated? What's the deal?
Yeah, when I started, and actually I was in the mortgage business since 1988, and about 2003, a friend of mine said, you know about reverse mortgages, right? I said, kind of, and because I was leaving the Bank of Hawaii to go into estate planning and work with seniors, actually, and he goes, these companies in town looking to have somebody represent the reverse mortgage in the state of Hawaii, and I vaguely knew a little bit about it. The reverse mortgage started in 1989. HUD, Housing Urban Development, insured the loan, and there was guaranteed a lender some protection if they gave people a reverse mortgage, and set together certain procedures. In regards to the question about, is it a scam? Why is there so much negativity? I became, very engrossed in understanding why the reverse mortgage works, why it doesn't. Because the first 6 months in I think it was 2003 or 2004, I would call people and tell people I'm in the reverse mortgage business now, and they would look at me like, "Oh no, stay away! I don't want anything to do with it. It's a scam. It's the worst thing that seniors can do." And they say, "Oh, if you don't like your kids, get a reverse mortgage." It's so funny. I would call friends, and nobody would call me back. They stayed away from me like the plague. No, seriously.
Okay.
I would call the state and city agencies, ARP. They all stayed away from me, and so I really took offense to that, because my research was totally opposite. My research showed that it's a great product. It can help a lot of seniors, but there's some issues about it, the complexities of it. People that selling it maybe didn't sell it properly or ethically. And I think the best way to explain it is I became a top producer in Hawaii and nationwide in our company. And I went to a conference one day, and I met a guy that started in this reverse mortgage business in 1989, one of the first guys in the business out of Florida. And I started in 2004. I said, Don, why is such a bad reputation of the reverse mortgage? You were here from day one.
Right.
Why is it? And he goes, you know what, Percy? Anything in reverse can't be good besides reversing the agent. And that's what he told me. He goes, you're absolutely right, and I wish they didn't call it a reverse mortgage. He said, I just wish they would call it a senior line of credit. Because that's really what it is. It's a line of credit for seniors. And he told me that, and it struck a chord. He goes, you're absolutely right. So when I first started in 2004, I did a lot of workshops. And people would come to me and learn about the reverse mortgage. And after 2 hours of sitting in my workshop, they go, that's all it is? I said, that's all it is. It's a line of credit. It's a pool of money. It's highly protected because you have to do counseling. You have to talk to a third party. I'm not a counselor. So once they talk to me and they want to look at the reverse mortgage, they have to talk to a professionally trained, HUD-approved counselor for about an hour and a half over the phone, because there's nobody in Hawaii that does it, and to explain them what the reverse mortgage is and what it's not. Make sure nobody tries to get you to take all the money out, to invest the money. And if you have Alzheimer's dementia, they're going to want to interview the power of attorney.
Wow.
Attorney in fact for the parent or loved one who wants to get the reverse mortgage to help them out. So it's highly protected. It's very regulated. The compliance is huge in our industry. Because if you commit a crime in this industry, it's a federal offense.
Oh, my goodness.
The reverse mortgage is a government HUD-insured loan. So all the lenders are highly compliant. All the ads out there should be compliant. Because I've seen some ads that whether it was a typo or the misleading, it's not good. So I've been doing 11 years now. I've done several hundreds of these. I probably trained over 1,000 attorneys, CPAs, financial advisors, realtors, state, city agencies, a lot of them. Then a lot of associations to explain what it is, what it's not. And at the end of the day, they go, why is it so bad? And here's what I would tell you. I believe it was 2006 or 2007, around there.
Okay.
AARP was watching this product because the boom in this industry was around about 2007, 2008. I mean, we had a lot of people looking at the reverse mortgage. And AARP got involved. They did their research. And they did, and I have a copy of the survey they did. The research paper was over 200 pages. And they did a study on who's taking out a reverse mortgage, why they're taking out a reverse mortgage, and how to protect yourself.
Okay.
If you were looking at the reverse mortgage, what are the do's and don'ts? And they did a great report. However, they don't publicly say this, and I hope they don't get mad at me, but the survey they showed that 96.8% of the people they surveyed that have a reverse mortgage are pretty happy. Okay. Pretty happy. So why do you see 9 out of 10 articles about the reverse mortgage being negative when they should have 9 out of 10 articles be positive? Because their own survey said over 96% of people that have a reverse mortgage are pretty happy. So go figure. A lot of it's misconception. Like I said, anything in reverse can't be good.
Well, I mean, when you said there's a senior line of credit, I mean, I would put that on your business card. I mean, senior line of credit advisor or consultant or whatever.
Well, there's a lot of things I would like to put on there. This is a highly regulated. We're all very compliant in our industry. I've taken it a step further. As you know, with the publishers of Generations Magazine, I've gotten to learn a lot about seniors, learn a lot about retirement planning, learn a lot about why people should use a reverse mortgage or when they should use a reverse mortgage. It's just very, very intriguing industry. And to me, going forward, it's going to be the product of the future for a lot of the baby boomers. Because I'm 55.
Okay. A
lot of my friends have refinanced in the last few years because the rates have been so low.
Right.
But when you refinance, all you're doing is usually you're including all the closing costs.
Okay.
And you're stretching out again to another 30-year mortgage.
Keep on pushing it back.
So if you're 55, if you want to retire at 65, that means you still got 20 more years left on your mortgage payment. And your mortgage payment doesn't go down.
Right.
Even though you may pay your mortgage balance down. But the mortgage payment doesn't go down. And so you're going to find that, let's say one spouse passes away. Now that one surviving spouse is going to have less money to pay that mortgage payment. Are they going to be able to do that? I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not an attorney. I'm not a realtor. I'm not a CPA. But I tell them all, they got to look at the cash flow. They got to look at why they're going to do the reverse mortgage. And really, if they want to age in place. That's really the key.
Well, and that's one thing that I know you stress. And in fact, you do your Aging in Place conference every year at the Alamoana Hotel. And
this year is August 15th, by the way.
You'll
15th. Be there.
Okay.
Talking about elder abuse.
Elder abuse, that's right. And that's one thing that you mentioned before, that aging in place is difficult to do it cheaply. I mean, you need funds. You need
you have to fix the roof at some point.
You have to fix
buy
the roof
a new car.
Or especially if you don't have the foresight to talk about, or you don't have the foresight to plan ahead and do maybe the long-term care insurance. Yeah. I know a couple weeks ago you had Michael Yee talking about long-term care insurance. And so if you do not plan ahead, if you do not get the long-term care insurance, is a reverse mortgage your answer?
Well, it's interesting you say that. 2 years ago, in August of 2013, we brought in a couple of experts from the mainland, Cindy Eisenhower, who's a national expert on long-term care insurance, and Dr. Bing Chen, who lives in Seattle, retired from UMass, University of Massachusetts, and he actually did the first study on reverse mortgages in the late 60s.
Wow.
He did a follow-up study on reverse mortgages for HUD, and I believe it was the late 70s. And the study basically said he was actuarial kind of a guy. He worked for, I believe, the Social Security Administration, then he worked for UMass, that when you retire, your cash flow goes way down. In other words, you don't have regular income, right?
Right.
Your income may be cut in half. But as you live longer, which today we are, and when, Social Security was started in 1965, I believe. 65 or 35. Anyway, we weren't living as long as we are today.
Right.
Newest study I found, I was talking to somebody about Social Security, that today, we are looking at people. So let's say you're 65 years old, very minimal medications, never had any major procedures done. The chance of you living to 90 is like 50%.
Okay.
50%.
Okay.
For a couple, it's 75% one of you will live to 95. It's a scary thought.
Well, so if you're married, you're going to live longer.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
People, they've already been studies already. That's how much research I do. You're happier being married, believe it or not, than not being married. Okay. Life expectancy goes way down by about 20% if you're not married.
Oh, my goodness.
Because you're supporting each other.
Right.
Hopefully you're still happily married.
Right.
But a lot of times you're just married for convenience or married because you're married. Right. And you cohabitate and you live longer and you support each other. And that's the reason why you live longer as a couple. It's been documented already. But I think people got to realize as they age and live in a home, there's a lot of things. One thing that when you're living in your home, besides fixing the roof, termite, buy a car, transportation is a huge problem as you get older. Healthcare and long-term care. In fact, the AARP study, the two major reasons why people use the reverse mortgage funds is for healthcare and long-term care.
So when you say long-term care, you're talking about caregiving.
Yeah, in-home caregiving. And so people got to realize and start planning. But I did want to mention, there are some changes coming up. I believe it's going to happen April 27th. It's a Monday.
Okay.
The guidelines, it's the largest change in the history of the reverse mortgage. It's going to come down April 27th.
What's going on?
Well, in the past, basically, if you're alive and you went to counseling and you're over 62 and you have some equity left over, and we do an appraisal, and your house is not falling down, we could give you money just like that.
Okay.
The application process was pretty simple. We really didn't look at income much when we underwrite it, and we really didn't look at credit much. I've done people in foreclosure. I've done people in bankruptcy. I did a reverse mortgage for a guy that had over $120,000 in credit card debt.
Wow.
His FICO score was low, but we don't look at FICO score. April 27th, we are. April 27th, for those of you out there that are thinking about the reverse mortgage, we are going to look at FICO score. We are going to look at credit cards. We are going to look at your income. We're going to need you to document your income. So qualifying is going to be a little bit harder. Not too hard like a regular mortgage, but it's going to be a little harder.
What's the purpose of that, do you think?
Okay, good question, Scott. The reason why is that through our studies on the reverse mortgage in the last 10, 11 years I've been in business, and HUD and AARP have been looking at this, and I love AARP, don't get me wrong, but the survey is factual.
Okay.
The survey said over 96% of the people that have a reverse mortgage who they surveyed are pretty happy. Basically what they found that 10% of the people that have a reverse mortgage today are in foreclosure right now.
Okay.
And in foreclosure because they didn't comply with the guidelines. Right now, the guidelines are pretty simple. As long as you have a reverse mortgage today, you have to make sure you pay your property taxes.
Okay.
And you have to be able to make sure you pay your homeowner's insurance.
Okay.
And if you have if you're required to have flood insurance, if you're required to have hurricane insurance, you need to have that. So what happened was they found a study that 10% of people cannot do one or both. So
now, when they say they can't, or they just forgot to, or
if they forgot to, we give them time to pay it back. Pay back the property tax or update their insurance, but it has to be done.
Okay.
So what happens? See, Hawaii, people don't realize in Hawaii, we have the lowest property tax in the country.
Get out of town.
I don't know if you guys know that.
I always thought that we had expensive everything.
Oh, no, we have expensive things. But when it comes down for dollar, we look at our property tax, the way it's calculated. Give you an idea. $1 million home in Hawaii, your property tax, don't quote me on this, but your property tax will probably be, let's say, $2,000 to $3,000 a year.
Okay. I don't have $1 million home, so I don't know this.
Okay. Let's say you have a $500,000 home in Hawaii. Okay. The property tax, don't quote me on it again.
Right.
But I believe it's about $500 to $700 a year.
Okay.
Maybe $600 to $700 a year.
Okay.
You know what it would be in California?
I do not know.
It'd be $5,000 a year.
Really?
Yes. Florida, California, New York, and some other states, it's that's much. Yeah. I couldn't believe when I found out.
Of course, you can argue, though, that the $500,000 house is going to be 5 times bigger in the mainland than it
Oh,
is here.
absolutely.
Yeah.
That's not the point.
Yeah.
The point is that our property tax is too low.
Right.
And not that I'm going to run for office and say raise the property taxes.
That's right. You're not going to
which
win.
If I
You're not going to
did,
get my vote.
If I did, I would. Well, put it this way. Hawaii is the only state, I believe, don't correct me if I'm wrong, somebody out there, that Hawaii is the only state in the country that the property tax does not go to education. Property tax. Every other state in the country, part of the property tax goes to education.
And I don't know.
I just saw studying a paper. Was it the paper? The Star Advertiser was saying how Hawaii is per capita. We have more children going in private school than public school.
Huh.
Per capita, we have more people in private school in the state of Hawaii per capita than any other state in the country. Why is that? Is it because the Department of Education is not as good? They say that. But the Star Advertiser also said the DOE spends about $8,000 per child.
Okay.
In the education public schools, where the private schools it's about $25,000 to $26,000 per child in that school. They spend. That's not what they pay. They spend per child. Is that a problem? Sure, it's a problem, but it's nothing to do with reverse mortgages.
Right. It doesn't there. But we can spend another show on that.
People that are looking at that.
Well, you were talking about the 10% that could not.
Yeah, they cannot pay it. So they have to either get it current or they're going to be foreclosed upon. In other words, they got to sell the house or pay off the mortgage. So we don't want that to happen.
Okay.
Because HUD guarantees a loan to the lender. So let's say they've had a reverse mortgage for many, many years, and now this mortgage balance is higher than a property value. They can still stay there, but when they pass away, if that house, the balance is $500,000, the mortgage balance, and the property is only worth $400,000, HUD has to pay back the lender the $100,000 deficit.
Okay.
See, so we don't want this program has got to be able to be sustained for forever.
Okay.
So HUD is kind of tightening the reins a little bit and qualifying, so people coming in can afford to pay the property tax and homeowners insurance.
Now, do these additional regulations, we'll call them for lack of a better term.
No, that is what it is.
Okay. Will these additional regulations help to prevent any sort of misuse or abuse of reverse mortgages?
Well, I think, first of all, it was done to protect HUD, protect the lenders, to make sure that it's not a last resort kind of a product.
Okay.
Because I'll be honest with you, when I first started, the first 5 years, most of my clients were really in dire need of money.
Okay.
Today, I would tell you it's about 50-50.
Really?
People need money, yes, but there's also people that don't want money. They say, Percy, my kids are all good. I took care of them. They took care of me. Now I want to enjoy life. I don't need the money, but I want the money because I want to travel more. I want to take our family on vacations. I want to buy my dream car. I want to take my wife to Italy and see the Vatican.
Okay, then how about instead of a reverse mortgage, why not just get a home equity loan?
Well, home equity loans are great. The issue comes down to, can you afford to make that payment as long as you have that mortgage?
I see.
So for couples, I said, yeah, if you can afford it. I mean, I'm the first one to tell you, Scott, this might be better for you and your wife to do. But you got to realize when one of you pass away, would you have enough income to pay that same interest-only payment? Because most equity lines are interest-only. See? So people got to look at cash flow. People got to really look at when one spouse passed away, what's the plan? And we haven't even touched the part about long-term care.
Right.
Caregiving. I'm older than you. I'm 55, and a lot of my friends today are taking care of the parents.
Yes.
And the reason why, and it's very costly, and the reason why, because their parents did not have a plan. So when your parents don't have a plan, you are the plan.
Right. And we've talked about that in previous shows.
Oh, yeah. I mean, trust me, hopefully by the end of the year or sooner, by late summer, the state's going to come out with a public awareness campaign about long-term care.
Because, the state, last year, passed freed up the money, I think $500,000 for the Executive Office on Aging to do a
public awareness campaign
on long-term care insurance.
Yeah, and I'm not. And now there's rumblings that they're looking at. Don't quote me on this again. I have to clarify this. That I think down the road we're going to look at some kind of a mandatory long-term care insurance program. We're going to pay out of our paycheck a small amount to pay for long-term care insurance down the road. And what's interesting, when I looked at the public awareness campaign, one of the items they want to address is to help people understand long-term care insurance and maybe even to buy it. Because the state realized that Medicaid, we have one of the best Medicaid programs, if not the best in the country. However, down the road, we don't have enough money to take care of everybody.
Right.
That's why I'm not a big fan of Medicaid. People that go on Medicaid, or people that transfer property to the kids because of the 5-year look back, or take out an immediate annuity to qualify to spend down to $2,000. I'm just not a big fan of that, because Medicaid is one of the lowest forms of care, even though Hawaii does a very good job. But 5-10 years from now, you think it's going to be like that? I don't think so.
Right.
And people got to realize, when your attorney says, put it in an irrevocable trust, is that a good thing? Hopefully it is. I mean, whatever they do, it's up to them. It's not my family.
Right.
Hopefully, but a lot of times I've seen so many times it's not. A lot of times they don't even know that Medicaid, you're not allowed to stay in the home.
See, I did not know that.
I ran into a couple that says they were looking at a reverse mortgage for mom. I met with the family members, and then we were going to process it for a reverse mortgage. Then we found out, when we did the title search, that the property was in an irrevocable trust.
Okay.
Irrevocable trust means you can't lend on it. No bank, no mortgage company, no credit company, no line of credit can go on. Will put this loan on a property, because you can't foreclose on it for the lender.
Right.
So these attorneys have been doing it where they put it in irrevocable trust, which isn't always a bad thing, but I never would recommend it. Honestly, it's just really a special need, or everybody's on board and they don't need money. Because what they do is they come to me looking for a reverse mortgage, and they can't get it because the irrevocable trust is on there. But nobody can lend on it. You can't go to a credit union or the Bank of Hawaii, First Hawaiian Bank, American Savings Bank, Central Pacific. They will not put a line of credit on a property that has an irrevocable trust.
I did not know that.
So it's very important. But the families I see, they come to me and go, they didn't even know that.
Right.
They didn't know you can't lend on an irrevocable trust. They did not know. A lot of families don't even know what Medicaid really, really is. All they're worried about is saying, I don't want to pay, I can't afford $5,000 or $8,000 a month for long-term care. So that's my only other option. It's not the only other option.
Well, and it's sad that, you and I both know that if you're allowed to age in place, age at home, it's a significantly less expensive than going into a facility.
Yeah. I'm not saying Medicaid is not great. Like, we have a great Medicaid program, and I get it. And I see attorneys that do Medicaid planning. It's just they got to realize, and the family has to realize, 5 years, 10 years down the road, is that going to be a good decision? Mm-hmm. We don't know. Yeah, because, one stroke can change the financial outlook of an entire family. And because you might be thinking, okay, yeah, I'll get older, I'll slow down a little bit there, I'll maybe not be able to run or jog or like that. But they don't anticipate a physical disaster like a stroke or dementia or something that comes out of the blue. I don't care how much counseling an attorney or anybody gives to a family, they cannot predict the future.
Right.
That's the issue. The other issue is that you can't change it. Because if you and I were brothers and we don't agree, because if, let's say we want to sell the property, are we going to agree to sell the property? I hope so. I don't know.
Yeah, but the thing is, I want to give it to my kids. Yeah,
but can you sell the property if you have irrevocable trust? That's a big question. So I always believe, and when I talk to families, you got to have as many options as possible. Mm-hmm. When people do an irrevocable trust, you lock down a lot of options. So I think there is a place for the irrevocable trust, and I know attorneys that do it. They just got to realize that we don't live perfect lives, and down the road, I've just seen so many situations that the family didn't realize the limitations that it gives them. Plus, they can't get any kind of loan on the property, reverse mortgage or not.
Now, I don't know if you'll be able to answer this or not, but in Hawaii, a home is so precious. Land is so precious here.
We have a finite number of houses being built next 10 years.
Exactly. Okay. Is the reverse mortgage a more sensitive topic here than on the mainland?
That's a good question, Scott. I think it's more sensitive here because we're more of a family state. We have more people living with their parents or the children or the whole sandwich generation, grandparents, parents, and children, more than any other state in the United States.
Okay.
We have more. We're a family state. So I always try to talk to the children if possible, if the parents want me to talk to the children. We try to get them all together to make them realize what's the plan to age in place. What's the plan long-term from today to the day both their parents pass away? What's the plan? And if the reverse mortgage fits, great. If not, no big deal.
Okay.
But I'm really concerned about, as we age, how we're going to take care of ourselves. And that's why I got involved with Generations Magazine. I knew the problems out there because all my clients started calling me. I get a call almost every day from one of my past clients. And they're always calling me for resources. What do we do? Today, I would tell you 80% of all the calls are on caregiving and healthy aging stuff. They always, they're running out of money too, but a lot of them today are worried about their ability to drive,
right?
The ability to continue to go out to vacations. Their doctor doesn't understand what's wrong with me, or they want another doctor, or they're dealing with Alzheimer's or spouse. I mean, this is a scary figure. This is 2015. In 10 years, the amount of people that are going to be documented to have Alzheimer's in this state of Hawaii is going to double in 10 years. Because we're documenting Alzheimer's better.
Say that again, one more time.
By 2025, in 10 years, the amount of people that we've documented to have Alzheimer's, dementia-related diseases in Hawaii is going to double. I thought it was 2050. And Alzheimer's Association corrected me and said, no, it's 2025. That's people who's documented. There are a lot of people that are not.
Right.
And I found out why. A lot of doctors don't want to document that. Oh, yeah, Scott, you have dementia. Oh, by the way, did you know your father? I'm sorry, but we have to document your father has Alzheimer's dementia. Wow. And as an attorney, once you're documented, you cannot get a new power of attorney.
Oh, my goodness.
You cannot get a new trust. You cannot get a new medical directive. Once you're diagnosed, because you can't make the decision anymore. That's where to play the attorneys that do conservatorship and guardianship come into play. And I've seen attorneys come to me and saying, oh, no, she's competent. I said, how do you know that? He goes, are you a doctor? He goes, no, but I talked to her for about 20 minutes.
Okay.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, that's the scary part right there.
Elder law today is going to change. And I think the attorneys in general that do trust, wills, power of attorneys, they got to realize.
And that's coming, and I'm seeing that more and more on the abuse side of things as well.
I mean, don't get me wrong. You're an attorney. You're a good friend of mine. I have a lot of attorney friends. We have attorneys write for the magazine. However, that's a big issue. Yeah. So, but a reverse mortgage is going to change. If you need questions, just give me a call, 234-3117. I am doing workshops every month now. But, yeah, I would highly recommend everybody. Qualifying is not that hard. It's hard for people that maybe are only on Social Security and making maybe less than $1,000 a month.
So with the new regulations, people are still able to get
they still can get it. We're just going to set aside money for the property tax and long term in the homeowners insurance. So, anyway, thank you, Scott Spallina, from the Deputy Prosecuting Attorney on elder abuse. If you have any questions, give us a call or go to our website generations808.com and. I appreciate all your time and efforts, and thanks to Cindy Spallina, who was our mobile notary earlier in the show. Again, thank you very much. Aloha, and live well.